Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Absolutely have not.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No, I don't care.
Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires
right to the
and a
hook.
spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, not so live, from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill. Bar and Bunker, man. Bar and Bunker. Getting them trolls. It's like, you know, in the old movies, man, you got like the farm folks, the town people and the farmers, they get their pitchforks and their tar and feather, and they'd go after the troll or the monster. And this day and time, the trolls come after the good guys. It's quite an interesting world we live in these days. But welcome all you low-lifers and trolls and you know, mouth-breathing mom's basement dwellers. This is the podcast for October 11th. And if you're wondering what low-lifers are, and I've been called a low-lifer multiple times in my life, but especially in the last few days, I am a low-lifer. This is, we live the low life here, low budget live. The listeners that are actual listeners, not people that come passing through because of one thing or another, the faithful, the folks that follow this, that I'm very proud to speak with, to engage with on a weekly basis, they refer to themselves as the low-lifers. It's not a derogatory term, but if you hang around for a couple weeks, you're a low-lifer. So you might want to either get on board or, you know, just keep doing you, boo-boo. That's all I got to say. But going to make this one kind of short and sweet today because I'm recording this on Sunday for it to post on October 11th. And I've been out of town at the Bassmaster Open, as those that follow me know. A couple hours from the house, got back on Friday night. And today's a very special day. It's October 10th when I'm recording this, and it is my son Hudson's birthday, his 14th birthday. And, you know, I'm not going to spend all day dwelling and dealing with this. This is the day I normally record the podcast, but he's still in bed this morning, and so I thought I'd come and record a podcast and talk about the week, talk about some of his craziness, but not going to take too much time away from family. I do that enough as is. So here we go. First of all, I want to thank the sponsors of the show. Many of you have reached out to them with your disgust for me, and that is, you know, that's much appreciated. StarTron and Starbright kicking ethanol in the teeth. I wonder if StarTron can make like a troll repellent. They need to spray it right in the face, spray it on your phone, and the goons don't show up. I don't know. It'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? StarTron, Starbright kicking ethanol in the teeth in your weed eater and your chainsaw. But more importantly than all those, your bass boat, in your outboard engine, because ethanol will gum up the works. Nothing ruins a great day on the water like an outboard engine that won't run. If you're going to store your bass boat, if you live in a part of the country where that water gets hard and you can't fish, you're going to want to put StarTron in there in the tank. Don't worry about running all your fuel out, all the things that so many of you truly have to worry about. StarTron will kick that ethanol in the teeth, and it'll keep you from having problems when you go to start that sucker the next time you go out. So big thanks to the folks from StarTron, Starbright for supporting Low Budget Live for over 4 years now. It's much appreciated. Week in and week out. Sims Clothing, Sims Fishing Products. This week I got to wear the Pro Dry rain suit way more than I wanted to, but it did just what it does. It's a pro keeping you dry. Then, you know, this bipolar October Indian summer weather we're having. You know, we had torrential rain for about 3 or 4 days at Smith. Lake came up. And then it was like 90 degrees on the last day. So I was rocking that Solar Flex hoodie. And, man, I don't know what I ever did before those really hooded sun shirts. I'm not a buff. I can't wear a buff over my face. Just get too hot. So I like and the only reason I ever really wore a buff was to keep it off my neck. But I like that hood, man. I fish with it a lot. And the folks at Sims want me to remind all of you, you get one life. Fish it well. Pro Guide batteries, ran those into the ground this week and couldn't kill them. I tried. The new lithiums, loving them. Loving my 31 AGM that I use them for a cranking battery. Having great luck with those Pro Guide batteries this year. You can get yours at ProGuideBatteries.com. Use code LBL10. And last but not least, Express Boats, Heart Springs, Arkansas, the official boat of the Traveling Circus, that X21 with the Yamaha show, that 250 show, the C deck. Put a lot of time on it this week. I think I had 40 gallons of gas. I think I burned 31 the first day to catch one. But ran that express route, shallow, deep. The versatility is funny. You know, I'd go skip docks. I'd go run pockets on a buzzbait, plopper, that kind of stuff. And then I'd be out over 100 feet of water on live scope chasing around suspended spots. So the versatility of the boat, you know, you don't give up one thing to have a, quote, aluminum boat. It's a high-performance bass boat. A lot of people, the 10 rig, man, it's not a 10 rig. It's 21 feet. It's so cool, though, when you're at, like, those Bassmaster Opens. It's co-anglers. Shout out Rodney, my co-angler from the first day. He's like, man, this thing has blown my mind. And I forget what kind of bass boat he had, but he said, I just did not think it would be this stable. Like, this is crazy. And it's fun hearing those stories because everybody, once they're around it, they get it. You know, they're like, dang, this thing. I had a guy pull up. He was in a Ranger. I was strapping my stuff down to come home Friday afternoon. And he said, damn, man, that thing's as wide as, I said, every boat on the market. He's like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think they would be. So he was like going over the C deck. He's like, dang, man, I gotta check into those. So it's a lot of fun for me because I've really enjoyed running that boat this year, as many of you know. So huge thank you to Express Boats, that X21, baby. Right here, the banner. Hang the banner. Express Boats, building excitement since 1966. Get to spend some time with those folks in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's jump in. Let's jump into this wild and wonderful world that is the internet. And for those of you that listen every week, that are loyal low-lifers, man, I want to talk to y'all first. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you, the sincerity that comes with you guys, the support that comes with you guys. I let it all fly out here publicly all the time. No, I don't have the biggest following in the world, but I've got some really loyal folks that appreciate what I do, and they let me know that on a weekly basis, and it's very cool. And it's been a good thing for me and my family. It turned into another career with the National Professional Fishing League, where I get to be the host. Get to be the face of that league, and those folks are great, and I'm very proud that they have my back in life. And nothing has ever proven that more than this past week when all this insanity started, and I started it, for sure. But what a crazy week! You know, last week I was at the Bassmaster Open. I recorded the podcast when I got home from our last NPFL event. I had landed at about midnight, and I got on here and I recorded the next morning. Then I had to go down to Smith Lake. And, you know, I opened that show with talking about YouTubers. And obviously didn't name anybody, had a couple in mind. One guy that I was very frustrated with, and that was Rob Terkla, Lunkers TV, and Rob fished the NPFL. Rob reached out to me to get in contact with the NPFL, and he came to fish with us. And for about the first half of the year, Rob was, you know, he was having a blast, and he and I really talked a lot, and I got to know Rob, and I like Rob. Rob and I have had several, conversations back and forth. He's never been a guy that, I wouldn't let him ruffle my feathers and he wouldn't let me ruffle his for the most part. Up until last week. And Rob left Lake Winnebago early. He was our 5th event in Wisconsin. He fished 2 days and he left. And some things were said that were frustrating to me when he did leave. And, I didn't reach out to Rob about it at Winnebago. I didn't. And I saw the frustration of friends of mine and now what I consider family, the NPFL family. And so I didn't say anything. Well, then Rob came to Grand Lake and Rob left after day 1 there. And he zeroed. And I was pissed. I was pissed because he came home and he made some posts talking about the fishery and some things like that. And these towns that we go to, like Grove, Oklahoma, that are such great hosts, that's the last thing they want to see or hear, right? Because they're hosting the event. They don't want that from a guy that has a lot of followers. So the league was frustrated, and I had talked to them, and I was frustrated, but that he left and then did that. Well, I didn't reach out to Rob, and I should have. I should have reached out to Rob before I said what I said. And so I got on here, said my piece about, quitting and him being a tough guy. And so what would ensue after that, people taking that comment thinking I was talking about he was a military guy. No, that had nothing to do. I'm talking about him shooting damn guns out of helicopters, and he's always just 90 miles an hour through craziness, and has nothing to do with the fact that he's in the military. But then I felt as if he let a bass tournament get to him. And I told him earlier this year that I didn't think he was going to be able to handle an ass whip, like on a podcast. So, like, Rob and I have a pretty good back and forth most of the time. But I said that, and I was mad. And I was defending the people that I care about, the NPFL. And they're not only my employer, but they're my friends and now very much like family to me. It goes beyond that. If it all ends tomorrow, guys like Brad Fuller, Paul Benson, Al McCullough, myself, and Michelle Fuller, we're all still going to be friends. Like, they're good people trying to do good things. And I would also like to point out former veterans, former military members that own the NPFL. It is a veteran-owned league, okay? Veteran-owned. Everything we do revolves around the military in some way. We have a lot of former military members that fish the league, okay? So it was just to see all this happen was crazy. But so, the podcast obviously goes up on a Monday, and on Tuesday, I start seeing things pop up online. My wife sending me some stuff from some fake pages, the mouth breathing fake pages, the bait experts that run hidden little pages and poke the bears that can't say anything from their face, right? Making posts about me and making posts about lunkers because I had defended Rob all year, and then I did in essence turn on him in my comments to open the show. So they were coming at me, and I told my wife that afternoon on the phone. I said, I'm no better than them. These people that just sit at home and stir this bullshit with their memes and their, all this stuff. I'm no different than them other than I say it to a camera from my face, but I'm still attacking this guy for whatever reason. And I told her, I was like, I want to reach out to Rob. And I hadn't heard from Rob yet at this point. And Rob's the kind of guy that most of the time when you got 1 million followers, I don't know what that's like, and I never will, but when you have that, like, he's used to bullshit. And Rob's a controversial guy who has taken multiple shots over the years at different things, and including professional fishing, and he has been one of the most hated guys in the fishing industry for years now. And until I got to know him, I just knew him as that. Okay? But I got to thinking, like, man, this is not all right. And just from this company, so I left. So on Tuesday, when I'm seeing all this, about a week after my contract ran out, the timing of it was awesome. But I'm sure they don't have anything to do with any of it. It just hit me, man. I was like, this is not okay. But again, I'm at a tournament. I go on about my business. Well, Rob reached out to me on Tuesday night, and he and I had a back and forth, and we talked for about an hour, and we talked about everything from mental health to our personal lives and things going on. And so Rob and I ended it, like, I apologized to Rob Tuesday about, hey, man, because he explained that he was not feeling it, and that he came home because he just couldn't get his mind right, and he was having these panic attacks and things. And my only question to him was, why would you not let Brad Fuller, a veteran whose wife has dealt with PTSD and helped folks with find therapy and worked with multiple servicemen and women about that, why wouldn't you just let them know that? Why would you go home and talk about a lake being shitty? To which he really didn't have a good answer, right? And I think he wishes he handled that differently on that side of it. Mental health is something that is very serious. It's something that I struggle with in life. It's something that my mother struggled with. It's something that my grandmother struggled with. There are histories of different types of things in my family. It's not something that I would ever make fun of, especially not something that I would ever, it's crazy. So 2 days after Rob and I talked, and I really did think that I was sincerely telling, hey man, like, I get it. Like, I opened up things to Rob from my personal life, and he opened up things to me in this conversation that, people don't know about me. People don't know a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that's happened just in the last year of my life. And people get an hour of me a week, or a YouTube video here and there, or what you hear at the NPFL. So you don't know me, and you don't know Rob. If you're watching this and you're a Rob fan, I do. I know Rob. I've had the fortune of getting to know Rob. And I was surprised, just like Rob was, to hear what I said. I was surprised Rob posted a video on Thursday evening. And I was fishing. I had a really tough day on the water. I got off and my phone was just melting. And folks from the NPFL, Brad Fuller, was very upset about it. And Rob had pre-apologized to them that he had to post this video to protect his name. And that's what he did. And what followed that, though, in that video, I was made out to be someone that attacked a veteran solely, like that was only my mission, was to attack a veteran with PTSD. How dare I? And people were calling for my head, cancel culture, tagging TH Marine, who I work for. It's my 16-year career. They don't sponsor me. I'm a sales manager for them. I've worked there since 2 months after I graduated college. I've worked there. And people tagging them and stuff, people tagging my sponsors. I'm anti-American. And right now I'm looking at a flag, a folded flag I was given by a member of our military that they flew in Afghanistan for me. I've got another one in my house that they flew in my mom's honor from a low-lifer. Shout out John Hatfield. In memory of my mother, they flew it over there for me. I have nothing but love and respect for our veterans and our military folks. My grandpa, Daddy Richard Peters, only flew on an airplane his entire life to go to Korea and come back. That's it. His stories, the shit he talked about my entire life, I know what people go through. I'm not tough enough to do it. But I wasn't talking about PTSD. I wasn't talking bad about a veteran. I was talking about decisions I felt he had made that I didn't agree with. Now, let's talk about being a veteran. If you're a veteran and you go into a bank and you put a gun to the teller's head and you ask them for all the money, then you go outside and you run into the cops. You're like, hey, I'm a veteran. Guess what? You still go to jail. So veterans can do things that people disagree with. The two are mutually exclusive. Period. I wasn't talking about an American hero. He is not free from any criticism. He gets criticized on a daily basis because Rob's like me and he puts himself out there to a lot more people than I'll ever put myself out there to. But Rob is used to criticism, okay? He's used to it. And when that video came out, it painted me in a light of anti-American and it was disgusting what followed. And the people that showed up in my YouTube comments, threatening my life, posting my address, posting my wife and children's names, saying unspeakable things because they had watched a video from someone they worship. They've never met, but they worship. And trashed me. And you know, I'm a guy that I stir the pot enough that I'm used to negative stuff. I see it a lot, okay? But what got me were the mouth-breathing mom's basement dwellers that think and thought it was okay to message my wife and my children over a YouTube video. Like, I pick this life, okay? I pick to come and stare at this camera once a week and give you a little piece of the fishing industry, of my knowledge, of what's going on, of my personality, of my family. I give you a little bit, but my family and my wife mainly, they didn't choose this life. They choose to support me doing it. But when I watch my wife with tears running down her face, reading a meme that some piece of shit made on the internet, saying she looked like a buffalo carp, from a fake page, of course, because everybody knows people that are capable of that kind of bullshit are too scared to post anything with any kind of relevance to who they really are. Kevin Baxter, those kind of people. They have a persona on the internet, but they also have fake pages that they handle. People like that. People like that. So any of you listening to this that support any of those fake pages at all, just keep stepping, man. Don't, like I've always been against those. The Jim Jones bass fishing, the Dick Duckets, all these stupid little fanboy fake pages on Instagram that could never say what I've said to a camera because they'd never put their face behind it, ever. I've risked my career, and now I've risked my family's well-being to be honest. And none of you can say that because you're all scared and you're pathetic, ultimately. But that's what I took from it. It's sad and pathetic, the things I've seen. But to message family members of mine, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you thought for a second the things that you thought about me. From watching a video to come immediately comment the things you were commenting to me, whatever. But when it got to my wife and it got to my children, it was a wake-up call for me. It was a wake-up call for me that this triggered internet world we live in is very sad and it's very pathetic. It is. And what you folks don't realize that are consumed by this, you're consumed with keeping up with whoever it is, whether it's the Rock or musicians and or professional bass fishermen and who you suck or this song sucks or you don't realize there are people on the other sides of these cameras. There's actual people. When you live your life consumed with only online jargon and BS, you forget there are actual people involved. And in this case, it's my family. So when this shit went crazy, I fished all day Friday again, the Bassmaster Open, and when I got off the water, my wife had sent me several things she'd been sent throughout the day. And it was grotesque. Like, it was just ridiculous. And then that continued into yesterday and continued into this morning. There was somebody messenger at 2 this morning. 2 this morning, going through and liking pictures of my daughter, going through and commenting on pictures of my daughter. I mean, just think like sick individuals. And it's truly, watching my daughter cry yesterday, thinking somebody's going to hurt me because they had found my address. I mean, it's, these are real things. And I asked for it. I asked for it by saying something about a guy that his audience has been used like a weapon before. And they came around like that. And, and a lot of people, they want to say, the Guggen Squad fan base is a bunch of kids. No, it's not. Kids don't do, these are grown-ass men that are saying the things they're saying. It's not 13-year-olds, man. It's not 15-year-olds. It's grown men and grown women saying the things they're saying. So on Friday afternoon, I talked to Rob, and I was like, hey, man, this shit's gone far enough. And Rob, who went through a very public divorce, knows all about when it gets a little too close to family. And look, Rob puts his family out there on the internet. He's an influencer. That's what he does. And he has done that over the years. And his daughter is a lot younger than my kids. And so she doesn't have to see the stuff that Rob puts up with. But mine do, because my youngest is 10 years old, and they all very much saw what's going on. They got messages sent to them. It's sick. It's really sick. And so Rob agreed to take his video down. After multiple conversations about things, he agreed to take his video down. I talked to Matt Kendrick, CEO of Guggen Baits, as did Brad Fuller from the NPFL. I talked to Brad several times through this, and they have had my back exponentially. You're looking at the host for 2022 and beyond. They're not getting rid of me. As I mentioned, they are a veteran-owned business, and they did not find any issue in anything I said at all. They didn't know Rob was struggling. Rob didn't tell them he was struggling like he didn't tell me, and it's my fault for not asking if he was struggling, okay? But you got to realize when you're only getting what you're getting, whether it's social media or actions in a boat ramp parking lot, one can only come to so many conclusions. And when you assume, sometimes you get a bunch of mom's basement comments. You get death threats, physical threats, people trying to get you fired, people messaging your wife telling her what a piece of trash she is for being married to a piece of trash like you. A mama and stepmama of 5 kids is a college professor, works harder than anybody I know. Drag her into this because you watched one video. That was taken down because not all the facts were presented correctly, like the fact that I had already apologized and we had talked 2 days earlier about a lot of things. A lot of facts left out. Just like me bashing him and not knowing the facts that he had something going on in his life. A lot more people listen to him, jump to conclusions, And the very people in the bass fishing world, a lot of them that turned on me are the same people that were bullshitting about Rob the week before and calling him things. But the pile-on effect really works, It really does. But I want to say that you folks that message my family, that commented some of the things you have to them, about them, there's a special place in hell for folks like y'all. Truly. Truly. It goes beyond, thin skin, clout chasing, blah, 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 all these internet terms. It goes beyond that, man. And for most of you that are faceless and nameless, you're cowards. You're cowards. I've been called a coward for talking about Rob. I did it looking into a camera from a microphone. And the people calling me cowards are now attacking my family. I'm not all right with it. There's nothing you can do about it. The internet's a messed up place. I choose to dwell in it on a weekly basis. A lot of really good people. I told Marissa that last night. And that's why I started this the way I did. I am forever grateful for the low-lifers, the people that I've met in person, taken pictures with, have showed up to low-budget live events. And there's a lot of y'all that are amazing. And y'all have changed my life, and I like to think that weekly, and so many of you let me know this, that I impact yours in a positive way. And we focus too much on negative stuff in life, because through this, the amount of people that have just seen the insanity and have messaged me on Instagram that I've never met and said, hey, man, just hope you're all right. This is BS and it'll pass, man. And those are good people. Those are good people. If you're capable of typing some of the things that people have typed, you're not a good person. And I've seen, several veterans have made videos, have sent me DMs saying they're going to knock my teeth out. They hope I get hit in front of my family by a car. Go walk into traffic. All these beautiful things that I've been sent by veterans. Which makes my point. Just because you're a veteran doesn't mean you also just automatically have to be a good guy and get a pass. Because they took one video, and of course, they're very proud to be military members, and they are, and rightfully so, defending one of their own. Just like I was defending my own people at the NPFL when this all started. Because I felt like they were done wrong. And I took it personal, and that's what I did. So Rob and I talked, and if you tuned into this video hoping for a public apology to Rob, well, Rob and I are both men, and we've talked, and we settled this on both ends. He took his video down, I took my podcast down, and that's that. So to come on here and look in this camera and apologize, I see that as apologizing to the thousands of people that said a lot of really dumb, really horrible, classless things, and you don't get an apology. You jumped the gun on something you thought you knew, and you went 0 to 60. And that's what the internet does. It doesn't matter if it's about football, politics, religion, people's, whatever they got going on. Everybody goes from 0 to 60 and they pick a side and they jump on it. And so, especially if it seems like it's the popular side to be on because an influencer tells you that or whatever, right? And I can be guilty of that as well. Like my opinions about Major League Fishing at times, my opinions about whatever in the fishing world, people tend to take those and run with them. And, a lot of people have a real disdain for organizations in fishing or anglers or what. I don't. I have a show and I talk about it. It's topics. Now, have I had personal issues with things? Hell yeah. With people? Yeah. Yeah. But on my worst day, I would never want anybody to wake up and have to read the things my family's had to read. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And most of you that can comment it, you wouldn't want your wife or your daughter reading it either. But some of y'all need to reevaluate your lives, find some actual purpose, and damn, go outside. Go fishing. Quit just talking about it on the internet. Damn, go. Go outside. You follow Rob, you like to watch him shoot guns. Shit, go to the range, man. Just go hug your kids. Go do something positive. Please. Because it's very clear a lot of y'all are drowning in some kind of psychosis that is not healthy. And to know that if you go to the grocery store right now, there's a lot of folks that could say things like that behind a keyboard walking around in real life is honestly scary. It's the real pandemic. Like it's scary. So I want to thank Brad Fuller, Michelle Fuller, Al McCullough, Paul Benson once again from the NPFL. Like I said, for having my back, fighting the good fight for me on this. The people that are proud I'm the face of their organization, and I don't care what you think about that. Neither do they. I take my job with them very seriously. Very serious. And always will, as long as they'll have me. So, hate to disappoint all you that thinks that you're going to get to watch that with somebody else at the championship and next year, but I just don't think that's going to be the case at all. So, yeah, there we go. That's it. Again, thank you to every service man and woman out there, like my grandfathers, like most of your fathers and grandfathers, like you that are listening. And I want to say this real quick too, multiple veterans reach out to me not okay with what was going on towards me that very much saw through what was happening. Okay. So I don't want to leave that out, because I had several that are just like, dude, low lifer forever, low lifer for life. Very cool. Very cool. Like I said, right here, it's past the camera, pointing right at it. A beautiful folded flag, military patches, amazing, in remembrance of 9/11 flown and presented to me for the low budget live bar and grill, hanging right here. I look at it there's a reason it's right there. There's a reason it's right there. And that reason is not because I'm un-American or like to bash veterans. Like that's just silly. That's silly. Absolutely silly. But again, thank you to the people that have my back. Thank you to the people that watch this. And thank you to my friends, like real friends that have reached out about this. Like, hey, this is crazy, but we love you, man. You do a lot of good things. Don't pay these mouth breathers any attention. These keyboard warriors, man, don't let them get to you. And I'd like to say that for me, they don't. But when it took a turn is when it got to my family. And that's when I lost all respect for a lot of folks. A lot of y'all. For sure. And there's some of y'all, I'll say this too, there's some of y'all that I see in person every now and then. And if you see me coming, I'd go the other way. And the ones here and out, there's about 3 of you. And y'all know who you are. You're probably on a fake Tinder account right now trying to get some girl to send you a picture, but I'll see y'all soon probably. At some point. I'd go the other way. Because I don't just talk straight up to a camera. I'll talk to you and like to your face too. I'm not bashful about that. Not bashful. So shout out to Rob Terkla for taking the video down as well. I will give Rob that. He didn't have to do that. And Rob's more versed in this internet world than I am. And Rob did apologize for the insanity. And now we move on. So, something I'm going to say this real quick. I'm going to talk just a few more minutes, and then I'm out for the week. But on the video that had 5 minutes of talking about YouTubers. Oh, speaking of YouTubers, Oliver Nye fishes all the Bassmaster Opens and has absolutely had a tough season, but he keeps coming back. And I want to say, people were commenting that I wasn't taking a shot at Oliver Nye at all. Not in the least. Not in the least, man. Oliver's put up with more drama and hatred, bull crap from internet keyboard warriors over the years. A guy that, puts himself out there, and now he's trying the tournament thing, man, and he keeps showing up. He's fishing like all 9 opens, so nothing but respect for that dude. Nothing but respect. So I don't want to get that twisted. He was not in that rant at all. But just want to get that out there. I saw Oliver this week. And yeah, just want to say that. All right. So, but in that, at the end of that video, I had interviews with our Angler of the Year, Keith Carson, and I had interviews with Taylor Watkins, the winner of stop number 6 on the National Professional Fishing League. So at the end of this video, I'm going to put those on the end because they deserve it. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, the podcast will end pretty soon. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't seen those guys' stories from the year, incredible with Keith Carson, incredible with Taylor Watkins, but they will be on the end of this video. Please go watch it. Go follow those guys on social media. They're real anglers. They are really hard workers. They're great human beings, and I'm proud of everything they've done and all they've accomplished on the National Professional Fishing League. All right, congrats to Jacob Poroznik, winner of the Bassmaster Central Open. And the reason I laugh is last Sunday I was sitting in my shop. It's pouring down rain. I get a phone call, and it's Poroznik. And he says, "Playa, how am I going to catch some this week?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, this is going on, that's going on. I sunk some brush, and this could happen, that could happen." So we talked and ran into Poroznik a couple times during practice. Poroznik goes on and figures out this crazy pattern and freaking wins the thing. Go into the Bassmaster Classic at Lake Hartwell, where he'll be tough that time of year especially. And he's still leading that Bassmaster Open AOI. And again, the Opens are so unbelievably hard. They're such tough events. And fishing them this year, I've seen that, obviously, but it's so impressive to see Poroznik leading, and it's just like last year with Hackney and Christie and Justin Atkins and Brian New. These guys that can just go, "Hey, I'm going to make it," and they make it. Because there's so many more that don't, that are great fishermen, man. But you're talking about, we had 220 boats this week. Incredible. The size of the field. And Smith fishes pretty small, so there's boats everywhere. And it really, you could tell after like day 2 of practice, it was going to be a horrific, tough event because the fish, man, they were just so spooky, and everybody was going in and out of every pocket throwing top water and all, and you could just see it change because I was there a week ago before NPFL, and there were a lot of bites to be had up shallow. The spotted bass that were schooling really were eating. You could see them on live scope and catch them, and dude, it just got tougher and tougher and tougher. As they had a 200-boat local tournament on Saturday, and then practice began. There's 220 folks running around, so it just got tough. And I still didn't think it would be as tough as it was, and had a good practice, and I sunk a lot of cane piles, and I sunk some brush piles. Man, I put in several nights. I told y'all the story about me and my little buddy Trey Swindle going and sinking some brush. I nearly cut my finger off. It's healed up now, but we had some brush. All that stuff was playing, and then I had some patterns, a couple different patterns nailed down. I really, really expected. I didn't think catching a limit would be hard. Now, it ended up being hard for a lot of people. I think there were 30 out of 220 the first day or something along those lines. But, man, the first day, I literally, catch one keeper for 113 and caught, 20 or more fish, but they got to be 15 inches. And I knew that would be an issue, but honest to God, I didn't think catching 5 would be tough. Now, I thought getting over that 10, 11-pound mark, some of the spots were really skinny, would be hard, but I thought I can catch, if I run enough spots, I can catch 5. And we had a fog delay the first morning. I didn't make my first cast like 9:15, but I had a 5 o'clock check-in, so I can't even use that as an excuse at all, other than maybe did it mess up the early, I don't know. I don't like fishing in fog anyways most of the time. I just don't think the fish bite as well. But anyways, I had a really long day to get it done, to get it figured out, and burned 31 gallons of gas, ran all over, and just caught one. Didn't lose, don't have any crazy stories about, I lost him. I did this, I did that. I caught a flathead catfish on live scope on a swim bait, watched him eat it, giant. And then I just had some really weird things happen all day long. But the weirdest, and I got to tell this story because it just cracked me up. But on day 1, my partner and I ran to the back of this cove, and we could just hear this awful noise. awful. It's like an animal screaming sound. It sounds like something suffering, and you're like, what in the hell? So as we go back, dude, I see this black cat. It's a black kitten, but it's a black cat. And dude, my grandma Duncan, God rest her soul, she would have shot it. She hated black cats. Said we could be going down the road and a black cat ran across the road. She would do a freaking U-turn in the middle of the road, almost wreck it and kill the grandkids just to get away from the black cat's path. Like she was that superstitious, man. And so this black cat's back there, and we're burning down the bank, throwing a buzz bait, and this thing's just dude, so loud. And I'm looking around like, and there's houses all around. There's a boat dock. This thing is screaming at us. If it's on this side of the pocket, we're on this side, moving parallel. It runs the entire length of the pocket with us while we're fishing. Like, I will do the noise as loud as it was because I'll blow your ears out. It's a horrible sound. And so my partner's like, dude, we got to give that thing some food or something. And I'm like, dude, it's a black cat. I'm sorry it's having a tough day, but it's a black cat, right? Look at me being judgy. But we go over there. We throw it like some little bit of ham and cheese. I throw it some beef jerky up there. It don't eat it. It just stares right at our soul and says, "Rah!" Again. And I'm like, bro, I can't help you. Like, I don't. And we leave, going out of the pocket, and it just chases us again. It runs out on the end of a boat dock like a dog wanting to ride. And I'm not putting a black cat in my boat. That happened at about 1 o'clock. I caught my only keeper. I caught at 9 a.m. I don't know what that means, but it means something. It was foreshadowing for what was coming that night from all the insanity on the internet, I guess. I don't know. But, and I told my partner, I said, well, congratulations, you're in one of the top 10 weirdest stories on the water that I'll ever have, because that one was bizarre. And it was that, man. It was so crazy. So crazy. But I ended up catching one and changed some things up day 2 and ended up catching 4. Did lose 2 on a finesse jig. That second day, I got kind of dialed in the second morning, and I caught 4 keepers that I weighed very fast, and then I dumped one that I saw was like a 3-pound spot, and then 2 more that I didn't see that felt really good when they pulled off. They just weren't getting the jig good. They were just biting, and then by like 11 o'clock, it was like you flipped the light switch. I never had another bite the rest of the day on that deal or any other deal that I ran. And I thought, golly, well, you blew that. Could have made a little bit of comeback. And I still jumped up like 100 places in the standings, man. Like, beat over 100 and something folks with really low, with basically a limit. I caught 5 fish in 2 days that I weighed. Like, it was brutal. It was brutal. But congrats to the guys that figured out. Jesse Wiggins ended up having a great comeback, finished 3rd. Prosnick winning the thing. Nick LeBrun. Saw my buddy Cody Huff. Shout out to Cody. Live scope, genius. Put it on him down there. I like Cody. He's one of the young, promising pros in the sport of bass, professional bass fishing. Down there doing damn work is what he was doing. Doing work. But good seeing everybody. Saw Jordan Lee, saw Brock Mosley, saw countless freaking people. The folks at Bass telling me they're low lifers, like Chris Bowes and crew run an absolute great event. There are things that frustrate me about the Opens that I've talked about. I'd like to see the payout go deeper into the field. I think that would help a lot of guys that chase them around because the fields are so big. But, man, there's a reason that people sign up year after year after year and they're stacked up because they run a freaking amazing event, really. Like, it's first class. Have 220 boats. The takeoff is seamless. The weigh-ins are seamless. Like, they're a good time. I'm looking forward to Grand in the last Central Open of the year. But if you're looking for something to fish, man, check out those Bassmaster Opens. It's, if you get fortunate to have a great week, you go to the Bassmaster freaking Classic. So I think that's a pretty good carrot to dangle, and that's why I'm going to Grand Lake, just praying for a lucky, good week, great 3 days of fishing. So one more chance for the rest of us to go to the Classic. Somebody's going to. That's for damn sure. But a lot of fun down there, seeing everybody. Shout out to all of you folks that came up to me at the weigh-in. Appreciate y'all very, very much. All right. That's all for me this week. It's a lot, I know. I'm not going to take you out with Biloxi Blues this week because I'm going to play the Keith Carson Taylor Watkins interviews, again, because those guys deserve it. And I reached out to both those guys when I took the video down, and I said, I apologize, but there's too much BS around it. Rob took his video down. I agreed to take mine down, and so you're going to get a double dose. Keith Carson, Taylor Watkins will be back next week. I'm going to try to make P-Roz come on and talk to me while he's on his way to Grand Lake trying to make the Elite Series. Talk about his classic win. We'll get him tuned up and dialed up. I appreciate each and every one of you that are the real ones. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll see y'all next week. If you're listening, I'll see y'all next week. And if you're still watching, enjoy some Keith Carson and Taylor Watkins. See y'all next time. All right. The NPFL show continues. So, one of the storylines for me coming into Grand, other than that Angler of the Year race, was who would take home our final regular season trophy. And, we've learned a lot about it, a lot of our anglers this year. We've covered several different ones. We've had the opportunity of covering a lot of different guys this year. And I've had the opportunity to be at the events and get to know so many of these folks. I didn't know a lot like you fishing fans. And Sheldon Collins from Oklahoma, I fished the FLW Tour against him. Absolute stick. I mean, as naturally talented as any fisherman I've ever been around. He's had several close calls in major tournaments, including FLWs. Down at Seminole, had a chance to win, man. And you saw the emotion come out of him down there on live. It was one of my favorite live fishing days. He's smashing on chatterbait, and he had an opportunity and he ended up not winning that event down there in 2019. He's had some close calls on Grand, but he calls Grand home, and we were all expecting big things out of Sheldon, and he did not disappoint. Starts our live stream with a 5.5 pounder the first day, just dedicates it to Skeeter Fowler and Donnie O'Neill's emotional moment for all of us. Leads day one with 19 pounds. Comes in day two with 16 pounds. Got a 3-pound lead going into yesterday. But Taylor Watkins from Tennessee, Taylor was putting numbers up, man. Over 17 pounds, over 15 pounds on day two. He had a very specific pattern dialed in on these docks, and he had it dialed up. 3 pounds out going into yesterday. Local favorite. You just had the feeling that Sheldon was going to be hard to beat. And then we did a morning interview with Taylor, and he was very just laid back in the saddle, man. And I looked at 5, I'm like, eh. And then he goes out and he blasts one over 5 before the storm gets there. Then he catches another good one. And then another. Then the storm hits and he hunkers down in a dock. When the storm goes away, our live feed, the fishing was brutal with the guys we were covering. Weren't a ton of fish catches, and then Taylor picks another one off. Then he picks another one off. We go off at 1 o'clock. Comes in with 17 pounds yesterday. Sheldon Collins went out and did his job. He thought if he caught 10 to 13 pounds, he would have a chance. He caught 13 pounds. Just comes up short. Taylor Watkins, the champ. The Stop 6 champ. Taylor Watkins from Tennessee finished 5th in the Progressive Angler of the Year race, and we're going to talk to him right now. He's driving home from Oklahoma as well. What's up, champ? What's up, champ? You getting used to that yet, or are you still floating around a little bit?
Dude, don't wake me up, please.
Yeah, man. I'm there. I get it. I'm like that with the whole league, bro. The whole thing, the whole year. I'm like, don't pinch me. This is all crazy, man. Well, first of all, dude, and I know I text you, but just congratulations. And I said yesterday morning, you sent me that text, and I want you to tell the story, and we'll get there. You sent me that text yesterday morning. I showed it to Fat Cat, headed to the studio, and I said, brother, I'm going to tell you, Sheldon's local. Sheldon's got all the pressure on him. But Taylor's got this thing dialed up. We watched you on day 2. You were so calm. You were confident. But then when you sent me that little story, I was like, I got a feeling today. And then you caught that big one, and I looked at Fat Cat when we went to commercial. I said, it's over. And he says, what? And I said, it's over. I said, he's going to win the tournament. He's like, come on, dude. Sheldon's a local, blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, I'm telling you. Then you caught like a 3-pounder. I said, next commercial break, I said, it's a wrap. It's like 9 a.m. He goes, dude, come on. I said, I'm telling you, dude, because you had not caught a fish that big all week, right?
No, that biggest one that I caught, it was 412.
Is that what that fish weighed, dude? I would have thought he weighed over 5. I was giving you hell on the live stream, man.
I know. That's what I heard everybody
calling you a liar.
I put it in as a 4.8, and it was 412.
Dang!
I don't know what else to do.
Dang it, man. Well, I apologize, dude. That thing looked like close to. It was so long. I was like, dude, that's like a 6.
No, it was skinny.
Okay.
It was very skinny.
Dang it. All right. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. It's all good. But and I lost one the day before that. And it was probably the same way. And I swore up and down it was a 6-pounder. But, it was probably the same way. It was probably another, 4-pounder like that. But, that was unbelievable. Whenever I caught the first one, before live even started. So I guess y'all saw that one. I don't know. I hadn't went back and watched yet. But I caught
I think we replayed it. Yeah.
Okay. And I caught it on a different bait. It was the only one that I caught on a beaver all week.
Okay.
But I hadn't thrown a beaver. But it was so dark and so like the light, like you couldn't see. And I was flipping a green pumpkin jig, and I'm like, man, they can't see this thing. Like it's not right. I had missed a couple. I missed 1 or 2. So a quick change, I just put on a black and blue beaver, just something dark. And I was like, I'll flip this for a minute. And I flipped it like 10 times, and boom, I caught one about 2 3/4. And then it finally got light enough, and I picked the jig back up. And when, caught that big one, whenever I caught that big one, I'm like, dude, it's 9 something. And I haven't caught a bass, a keeper, before 10:30 all week.
Right. We had talked about that on live because day 2 we watched you. You're like going down a bank throwing a spinnerbait, and you said, yeah, I caught him yesterday afternoon. Anything I pick up here's a bonus.
Yeah. So, yesterday morning was, I was like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like, I felt very confident, and plus I didn't have any pressure, like
no
doubt. Had all of the pressure, like I had made the championship. I didn't have pressure coming into this tournament.
Right.
I got on with Pug and those guys on the square table a couple weeks ago, and they asked me, well, what do you feel about this tournament? I said, dude, I'm going to win it. Like,
yeah,
I don't have any other plans. Like I might 0, but I'm going to win this thing. That's how I'm going to fish. So that's what I did this week in practice and stuff. I went out there specifically finding a pattern or a way to win, so.
Well, and look, you're no stranger to success with us this year on NPFL because, my goodness, 5th place in the Angler of the Year race is nothing to sneeze at. And you started inching your way up there. We started seeing that name in the top 10 of the standings around Pickwick, and we covered you down there. And you started kind of getting the ball rolling. Then we go to Winnebago, and you're inching up there. And I think you started this event in 10th, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then you jump up to 5th place, but you already had the championship made, so you're cool as a cucumber there. But dude, are you are boat docks something that you like to fish? Is that something you seek out when we go places?
Used to I used to not have a lot of confidence in boat docks. I grew up on the Coosa River, so like grass was my deal, on Coosa River and Gunnersville as well, and then moving to Tennessee. I moved to Tennessee about 5 years ago, and a really good friend of mine, and he's really become like a kind of a mentor, is Shane Lineberger. And,
yes, good man.
Shane, awesome. And Shane came out and spent about 2 days with me on Watts Bar a couple weeks after a Bassmaster Open about 3 years ago. He finished like, I don't know, 12th or so. He did really, really well. It was on Chickamauga, and he locked up to Watts Bar.
Okay.
And he was flipping the jig. And, he came over and we spent a day or 2 in the boat together, and like, he taught me everything. Like, he's just like, here's what I do, and this is how I do it. And he like spilt the beans.
And he's a jig guru. He's a Lake Norman. You better know what you're doing with it.
That's right. And I dude, he opened my eyes to the potential of docks, and just the way that he fishes them is different. different than I've ever seen. It may not be different to people on Lake Norman. I don't know.
Right. That's killer, man. Shane Lineberger, shout out Shane Lineberger. He's a good man.
Yeah. So anyway, he did an amazing job showing me, and I just took that technique and I've applied it over the past couple of years and kind of perfected it as my own, you know, and I don't do things exactly the same way he does, but you know, it really played to my hand this week. That's not how I found those fish at all. I found those fish with a topwater.
Really?
And yes, with a whopper plopper, and I had 4-pounders coming out, and there would be 3 of them with it, you know.
Wow.
And I had the hooks bent in, and they would just hammer it. And so I did that the first morning. I went through that entire area, and there's 4 other guys in there, and I went through that whole area and did not have a bite. And I left, went and fished other stuff, and at like at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I had one small keeper, and I said, I know those fish are in there. I got to go in there and figure out how to catch them. And I had gotten bites on the jig during the week, but in different areas, you know. And I finally picked up that jig, and I got a bite, and then I got back there to the 2 magic docks, you know, and I skipped under that dock, and I caught a 4-pounder. Then I got to the next dock, and another one about 3 3/4, and I picked up the jig about halfway down through there, so I just turned right back around, went right back out, and by the time I made it out to the end, I had almost 17 pounds, you know. And then came back to the boat ramp. I came back early and fished a little section of docks there in Wolf Creek, and I pulled up with a big one. So that was day 1. Day 2, same kind of plan, you know, early, went down my stretch of docks. The fish had moved on those 2 special docks out to the end. They were actually on the pole. They were on the, you know, like the beam that goes across.
Yeah.
Okay. So I skipped under it because it was cloudy, you know, and so the fish were suspended on that pole, and I could put that jig in there and swim it down through there, and I'd hit that pole, and where it hit that pole, they'd eat it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I did day 2. Come back early again, and I lost a big one in Wolf Creek. So that's what gave me the idea on yesterday morning just to go ahead and start there. You know, I'm like, there's big ones here. I just got to figure, you know, just put my head down and go down through here, and I'll probably catch a big one this morning, come back and catch another big one this afternoon. So that was kind of the plan. But
so
and
awesome.
It worked out.
It did, man. All right, I gotta get you to tell the story for those folks that the low lifers that didn't get to tune into NPFL. And you text me this. We were cutting up, and I'd never noticed you with the good old Eagle Claw hat hook, the hat pin that we see, and we never noticed it. And our producer in our ear says, "I wonder if that's kind of, you know, some kind of significance in our ear." And our director Zach Visser and Fat Cat's like, yeah, that old bronze Eagle Claw would be good for throwing shad on. Like we were cutting up, and then you text me and you said, hey, my wife said you guys were asking about the hook. Here's the deal. Tell this story, because this gave me chills when I read it. It gave me chills when you caught a big one, and then you talked about it on live, and that's when I looked at Fat Cat in the break and said, ball game.
Yeah, so the whopper floppers, I had 2 whenever I got there to practice of this particular one, and during practice I actually busted the tail off of it on a cable on one of them, so I was down to 1, and I'm like, there's no way that this is gonna last for 3 days, you know, like there's no way I can make one whopper flopper last for 3 days, or Chapo. It wasn't a whopper flopper, it was Chapo. And so I don't want to put my buddy down, but I called Matt McKee at McKee Outdoors, and I said, Matt, I need some 105 Chapos. And he's like, what colors do you need? I was like, this one, this one, this one. I said, you got any of the big ones, the 120s? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, send me some of those too. And he's like, well, you want next day air? I said, yeah. So $50 to next day air.
Oh, yeah. Shipping's crazy right now.
Yeah. So he drops in next day air. They come to the campground. We get them. My wife's like, I'm going to open up and look at them. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Just we'll throw them in the boat. She's like, no, I want to open them up and see what you got. She opens them up with evergreen shadow blows.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, no. And I called him. He goes, "Oh my gosh." He said, "I could have swore you said Shadow Blow."
Oh.
I said, "No, I said Chapo." And so we.
He must have been on TikTok or something, man. When you called him, he was looking at TikTok. He was looking at dances or something.
And I start hunting around, and I went to several different places, and anyway, I ended up going to Grand Lake Sports Center. I actually called around to 100 different places, I guess, and Bass Pro had them, but Bass Pro was like an hour and 30 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, gosh, man, I don't want to spend my whole day, driving all around looking for these things or whatever. We're going by, and my wife says, "Oh, there's a place right there." And I saw some crappie stuff in the window. And I'm like, "Well, we'll stop in there." I said, they probably don't have anything. And I pulled in there, and I walked in, and Sam was in there, and he said, "If I can find anything, let me know." I said, "You got any Berkeley Chapos?" He just kind of looked at me. He goes, "Let's walk down here." We walked down there, and he walks down a couple aisles, and he walks there. He said, "You talking about these?" And he had a whole aisle of them.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, just stocked.
He did have them. He did. He don't now after that plug.
No. So, oh yeah. So, I'll punch. So I said, you saved me from having to drive Bass Pro Shops. So I'm going to buy a few extra. So I bought $200 worth of Chapos from this guy.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
And he put them in the bag or whatever, and we get to telling stories, and he gets to telling me stories. So that shop has been there for 75 years. They've been open for 75 years, and he's seen Bassmaster Classics. He's seen Bassmaster Elites. He's seen it all. And he starts telling me stories about Cliff Pace coming in and buying a jig, and looking for this particular jig, and then going and winning the Bassmaster Classic, and different, just all kinds of different stories like that, and we're cutting up and having a good time or whatnot. And he looks at me, he's like, I get ready to leave, and I'm like, hey, we're about to head out or whatever. And he looks at me, he goes, "Man," he said, "I got a good feeling about you this week." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I got something for you." And he goes around behind the counter, and he pulls that fish hook out, and he said, "Come over here." And I leaned over, and he slid that fish hook on my hat, and he said, "That's going to be your lucky fish hook this week." And I said, "You think so?" And he said, "But you got to make me a promise." And I said, "What is that?" And he said, "Whenever you win, you got to bring that trophy in here and set it on my counter and sign a shirt for me, or sign something where I can hang it up." And I said, "Deal." So this morning, we went over to the shop, and I set that big old shield on his.
That's awesome, dude. I got chills, man. I got freaking chills.
He was so happy. I mean, we took pictures. There was 2 kids come in. They were wearing their NPFL hats.
That's
they come in.
awesome.
They were like, we want our lucky fish hooks. So he got
dude, that's killer.
Oh, it was awesome, man. We took pictures and had a big time this morning. It was so cool.
That makes me smile, dude. That is what turned our little world, the fishing world, the tournament world, dude. That's just the good stuff. That's what makes it so special, man. And when you text me that story, dude, I had chills yesterday when I did again when you're telling it. And then to finish it up, you go back and make good on your word, man. That's impressive. Shout out Sam.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been in there many times when I've been to Grand, and it's a Grand Lake staple, man. And him putting that on your hat, that's like he knighted you. he was making you. Yeah. That's it, man. That's so cool, man. I bet all the other dudes listening to this from the NPFL are like, "Damn, thanks a lot, Sam. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Where was our fish hooks?"
Yeah.
Should have gone and got you some Chapos that Taylor didn't need to win.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't even weigh in a keeper on a Chapo.
I heard you say that yesterday. It's interesting.
Oh my gosh! But it's all good. You never know. But I tell you what, I do need some more jigs though. From it's Biz Baits now, but
Biz Baits?
Biz Baits. It was True South Custom Lures, and they have merged with Biz Baits. So if y'all want some jigs, you can go to bizbaits.com, and it's a fathead jig. It was a green pumpkin and brown. So yeah, with it was a Reaction Innovations spicy beaver on the back.
Yeah, that's a heck of a trailer, man. A lot of folks have started throwing that on a swim jig a lot, and I guess you had a lot of action with those flapping claws, man. That's dude, that story, man. That is I said this event with what happened with you there, taking down Sheldon on the home lake, you know, because Sheldon caught him yesterday. His weights were dropping every day. Yours dropped a little bit. You know, you lost one, you're saying there, but you had 17, then you had 15. He has 19, then he has 16. So his weights were going down. Yesterday he catches 13, and he felt like at the dock yesterday, he's like, if I catch 10 to 13, I think that I will have done my job. And, dude, you just went out and outworked him, outfished him that day. I mean, just it's awesome, man. He I shouldn't say outworked. Sheldon was running around like a chicken with his head caught off, busting butt.
I'm sure it didn't look like it. I'm flinging a jig around.
Yeah, well, and he that's that local thing too, right? Like we're watching Sheldon. We have the luxury of seeing all 10 cameras, so a lot of times the camera's in the floor because Sheldon's going over here to check this and he's going over here to check that, and you could tell it was a little tougher day on him early because he had a limit in the box both days pretty quick. So when he was sitting on like 2 early, you knew, you know, and when the rain came in, he made a comment. He said, this is not going to be good. Like, this is not going to be good for what I'm doing. But then we saw him, you know, he was still confident, and Sheldon, man, he is one of our most talented anglers out there, and I think you would agree with that. He's a stick. So you had to take him down. It was one of the coolest stories to see you win on his home lake. I mean, he slept in his own bed, bro. He slept in his own bed every night. And then for the Keith Carson to win Angler of the Year, the way it all went down, it was one of the most interesting events in pro fishing this year, in my opinion. But we got one left, and I got to ask you about that. Nick and Jack, I know you're a Coosa River guy, but now you're an East Tennessee boy. You over there in Clinton, Tennessee, in that neck of the woods. Do you fish Nick and Jack that much?
I've only been to Nick and Jack one time.
Okay.
But it's the Tennessee River, man. I grew up, I actually I graduated from the same high school as Gerald Swindle.
Okay, there in Hayden.
Yeah.
Or Warrior.
At Locust Fork.
Locust Fork, that's right.
Yeah.
Locust Fork.
So right there with DC and all of them,
that's right.
I grew up right there. And so Gunnersville, man, I fished Gunnersville a ton, you know, and Nick and Jack and Gunnersville are kind of similar, you know. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but it's got some of the same features and whatnot. But it also has that river system up there.
Yep.
And I just got to figure out which one's going to play. You know, is it going to be the river? And I also got to figure out how many smallmouth we can weigh in because I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the regulation is that time.
I'm not sure if it's 1 or if we can weigh 5. I don't know.
I think maybe 5, but I'm not sure. I know that's a weird deal in Tennessee sometimes on different bodies of water.
Yeah. So I need to do some research on that and figure that out. But yeah, I'm really excited. Even before I even knew where we were going, I've been telling my wife and all my family and stuff. You know, they're like, oh, you know, we had talked about it or to get brought up, and I'm like, y'all don't worry, I'm going to win the championship.
That's awesome, dude.
You know, like that. My whole season has been make the championship. You know, I don't care where it's at. I want to be there because that way you can just let it all hang out.
That's right,
and go for it. You know, and that's what I did this week. You know, so I'm excited for that one. It's also one of my favorite things to do is fish grass. Like, I absolutely love fishing grass. And so that very well could play it at Nick and Jack. And I'm excited about that.
You guys should have plenty of grass, I would say. I think Nick and Jack's a hidden gem on the Tennessee River. I've said that several times. And I've not been there, you know, 2 or 3 times maybe. But it's a beaut, man, down in those in that valley between those
in the mountains.
It's beautiful, man. We ought to hit it at a time that the leaves ought to be changing. It'll be a heck of a venue to host our first ever championship. And Chattanooga's a cool city too, so it'll be a good time. I am fingers crossed that we're going to broadcast from there, so I can hang with you guys and shake every one of your freaking hands for not only fishing with us, man. And I say us, I'm just the guy that runs his mouth. But I've been, dude, since you follow, I've been so proud to be a part of the league. And I was before the first event, but seeing all you guys and how proud you were to be a part of it, and it was like a brotherhood, and us against the fishing industry to a certain degree, because a lot of people didn't give us any chance. They didn't. They're like, oh, it's this, it's that. These guys are nobody. I mean, you've seen it, you've heard it. Oh, it's an easy trail. It's this, it's that. Let me tell you something. It's one of the, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Anybody that sits at home in their mom's basement and types that on the internet, the easiest trail to do good in is the NPFL, they need to come get them a dose, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, even like everybody was predicting the weights this week, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be 40-something pounds or something, you know? I had whatever, well, I don't even know what
50
I had.
something,
50,
yeah, in the 50s.
50 pounds, 3 ounces or something. And lost a 6-pounder and a 3-pounder, or a 5-pounder and a 3-pounder. Like, and there's no telling what other guys, you know, lost.
Oh, there was a lot of it. Yeah.
You know, just because of the way it was fishing and stuff, you were having to, you know, get behind the docks and get in the dirty stuff. That place, you know, nobody expected it to show out the way it did, but I don't even know that it showed out the way it did. I think it was the quality of anglers that was on that body of water.
I agree, man.
You know,
but listen,
because the locals talk about how tough it is. You know,
it's
tough. It's tough. You know, and then our guys show up and go out there and blast them.
Yeah,
you know, like.
Yeah, you guys killed it. And, dude, yeah, that's what I was going to say. All events, all year long, the check weight has been higher than I predicted at every event. And I don't know what it ended up being at Grand. It was a little stingy around the check range.
Yeah.
But top end weights have been higher every single time than I could have ever predicted. And, dude, and I get to, you know, you guys are out there focused up on what you're doing. It's like you texted me yesterday. You said, I'm going to do what I do. Go do what you do. And it was awesome. And what I do is I get to watch the game unfold. I'm on Way Live Tracker app all day long. And, Bubba, if you're not bringing it, your butt's sliding backwards in the standings. Like, it's interesting to watch the ebb and flow of those standings all day, every day, all year, and the Angler of the Year standings. So, and it's going to get even more competitive next year. You know, we didn't have a full field. We started with 115. We will have 125 next year. We got guys coming in, a few new guys, going to be some new faces mixing it up. And 2022, man, it's not going to get any easier.
No, I'm so excited for that. Like, I don't, there's people say it, I don't know. Some people say, oh, there's going to be guys that aren't happy about it. I haven't personally talked to anybody that's not happy about it. Like, whenever I say that I fish as a professional, I want to fish against professionals.
Bam, there it is. There it is, dude, man. That's right.
And if I get, I don't care if there's 125 anglers and I finish 124th, and I know this is never, ever going to happen in the history of the world, but Greg Hackney happens to finish 25th and I beat him, I'm going to be excited.
That's right. Like, that's right.
You know,
yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
those type guys,
to be on the water beside him is going to be phenomenal for me, you know, and those type guys, and to put myself, like, I feel like I've proven that, hey, I can compete at this level.
No doubt.
And I want to prove to myself and everybody else that I can compete at the next level.
That's
you know?
right.
And so that's just another stepping stone is all that is.
No doubt.
And if I get my teeth kicked in for 2 years, I'll be back again the third year to get better. That's what I've done my whole life, you know. So I started out at 16 getting my teeth kicked in by locals on the Coosa River. And then, you know, I got to where I was getting a check every time. Then I went to Costas and I got my teeth kicked in for 2 years, you know, and then I started cutting checks. And then I went, you know, and just kept moving up. And that's what you got to do, you know.
No doubt, man. And you have certainly shown this year, man, like so many of our guys, you belong. We have enjoyed covering you. You're great on camera. You talked about your family. You told so many great stories. You're breaking down what you're doing. And you belong in the sport of bass fishing, brother. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I absolutely, I'm proud for you. I'm proud of you. And I'm glad to get to know you a little bit better this year out there on the NPFL.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all doing what you're doing. And real quick, right before we got on, I know John Cox's wife said something earlier in the year, something about Luke Dudley or
yeah,
something.
she gets us mixed up sometimes.
She said Fat Duncan.
Hey, listen, I represent that comment. That's fine. There's a reason I try to run 4 miles a day.
She said, "Are you gonna get to talk to Fat Duncan? I mean, Luke Duncan."
You wait till I see Lindsay. Again.
No, this is Noelle.
Oh, Noelle. Noelle.
Yeah, Noelle. No, Lindsay did it earlier, remember?
Yeah, it was Lindsay. That was your wife. Oh, I thought you meant Cox's wife did it again. My bad. My bad. Your wife did. Noelle, you're on my list. Oh,
yeah.
me. Yeah, I was confused. Sorry.
She said, you get to talk to Fat Duncan.
That's
I was like, it's Luke Duncan.
Oh, listen. Hey, I'm comfortable being the fat bald guy. Listen, I'm there. I'm living that dad life these days. So that's awesome, man. I do want to say, man, you guys again being out there, family events, your wife travels with you. It's been really cool to see, man. So shout out to her too for being supportive. Your mom, you mentioned your mom yesterday, comes to a lot of the events. It's so awesome, man.
Everyone.
Awesome, man.
Everyone.
So cool, man. That's makes me smile. I had one of those that liked to be at those fishing events every time I had one as well. So super cool to see, man. Super cool.
Yeah.
That story yesterday got to me a little bit on live. I'm not gonna lie. That was it's awesome to hear, man. It's awesome to hear.
All of my friends would text and call and be like, "Man, I'm crying so hard."
Yeah, man, it was a lot.
I said, "You think you're crying?" Dang. I can't hold it back, man. I'm full. I mean, I try to keep an even keel. Like, I don't let the highs get me too high. I don't let the lows get me too low. Like, I don't know, I know you follow me a little bit.
Yeah, man.
Dude, on the way out here was like a nightmare. Like,
yeah.
I had everything that could happen.
I saw.
And it was crazy. Like, I got to Grand Lake in the first 2 hours of practice, I spent rigging tackle.
Yep.
Like, I where I'm on my way home right now, and I'll be at work at 7 o'clock.
That's
in the morning,
the thing about most pro fishermen that people don't realize.
Yeah, and so I hadn't had time to rig tackle. I hadn't had time to get ready for Grand Lake. I literally dumped my boat in and started rigging rods and putting line on and all of that stuff. Just because we got there at like 9:30, 10 o'clock on Saturday night, and I had planned on getting there at like noon on Saturday, but it's just part of it. But I don't let those things affect me, and I just try to keep an even keel and just put it all in God's hands. And that's all I can do. Like, hey, this is up to you, and whenever it's my time, and I'm here along for the ride. So I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate the NPFL. I appreciate everybody, them giving people like me a chance, and having a place to go and a place to compete. So
that's what it's about, brother. That's what it's about. And we've got to see you, man. We got to see you grow as an angler this year and get more and more consistent. And then you took home that last shield of the year, the regular season shield. And I hope you get you one more over there at Nickajack.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to be the first to go back to back on something. I know there's lots of them that's been close, but I'd like to be the first one. And then there's nothing that would be more special than being the inaugural championship, winner. That would be that's the biggest thing for me. It's cool enough to be part of the inaugural season and be a winner in the inaugural season, but to win that championship, that'd be talked about forever.
Yeah, it's something we'll never forget, man. 2021. It's been a ride. It has been a ride. You be safe, brother. Headed back on your ride back to Tennessee, and I'll see you in Chattanooga.
Yes, sir. I'll see you.
Hey, Taylor, real quick, plug I know you're on Instagram. You do a great job on there breaking down what you're doing and showing your life, which is why we're all on social media, to see that behind the scenes. But plug your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you want. Let the low-lifers hear it.
Yeah. Be sure and go follow me. It's TDW Fishing on Instagram and Facebook. Lowercase letters on Instagram, uppercase on Facebook.
Okay.
But whenever I started this deal, I had one sponsor that gave me a little bit of money to go get started, and he's like, here's a little bit to go get started. And my boss said, you can still work and go do this. So I knew I wasn't going to lose my house. I wasn't going to lose my, my truck and all that. And, so that allowed me to go get started. But dude, I didn't know what I was going to do if I didn't cut checks. Like, if I didn't cut checks, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. And so for this season to go the way that it's went has just been unbelievable. And after that first event, Duradeck Marine Products reached out to me. It's Russ Brenner. I got to give him a huge shout out. And he reached out and he said, I want to be a part of you and I want to be a part of the NPFL.
Heck
and,
yeah, man.
So, and he's helped me out, some along the way. And then, it's progressively growing, and I hope that, we just keep growing as a league and I can keep growing as an angler. And I appreciate everybody that listens. I appreciate everybody that watches, all the people that reached out to me on Instagram, on Facebook, text message, called. I mean, it's been unbelievable at all the people that have reached out to me, and I appreciate every single one of you. And y'all keep sending them, and I'll keep replying.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, I love it. I love it, dude. It's so cool. My wife, she's enjoyed this so much. She's just been like, this is the best thing that's happened to us. She's like, people walk up to me and go, oh, you're Taylor's wife, and she's like, it just makes me smile. So it's so much fun.
That's good, man. That's that fishing family. We talk about it a lot. It's what NPFL is about, and I'm proud I get to be a part of that family with guys like you and your wife, even though she called me Fat Luke.
It's all good.
It's all good, man. Ladies and gentlemen, low lifers, Taylor Watkins. He's going to be around this fishing thing for a long time to come.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, brother.
See
Be
you,
safe. Taylor Watkins right there, man. I'm telling you, if you don't, golly, man, I love stories like that. I love what I get to do because of guys like Taylor Watkins, because of guys like Keith Carson, because I am obsessed with bass fishing like they are. I am proud to be a part of the National Professional Fishing League and the entire fishing community.